everything you ever wanted to know about where the world is going and why. Shocking events have poured down upon Americans one after the other. Previously, things seemed to be going so well. In 1991, the Soviet Union fell apart. The Cold War ended. Nations in East and Central Europe, Hungary, Poland, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, they all became democracies. The economy boomed. Oil was cheap. Budget deficits turned into budget surpluses. America was the home of innovation, Silicon Valley, global, the leader in information technology. Employment and income rose, even for racial minorities. In 1991, it took only a couple of days for an American-led coalition to defeat Saddam Hussein's army, which had invaded Iraq. America was the only superpower, the indispensable nation. How did it all go wrong? How did oil prices soar? Why did the dot-com bubble burst? How has Russia returned to strength, invaded Georgia? How has China gotten so rich that U.S. financial giants go to Beijing begging for a bailout? The whole American financial system is almost in collapse. The cost of the bailout is going to be a drag on improving living standards for a long time to come. Everybody now seems to thumb their nose at the United States. Iran, Venezuela, Bolivia, North Korea, all around the world, America has lost respect. Authoritarians are on the rise. China is much more popular in the world today than is the United States. Why couldn't we see it all coming? American triumphalism blinded America to earth-shaking changes of the 1970s, made America arrogant, ugly. What did we miss? It all began on August 15, 1971. Nixon told the world that the dollar was too weak. It could no longer support the world economy. The dollar was allowed to float. Europe had risen after World War II. So had Japan and other nations in East Asia, Taiwan, South Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore. The dollar became just another commodity, traded like any other commodity. Americans no longer controlled their own currency. The dollar fled. It had been sent all over the world after World War II to help other countries get started, but now it was turning against the United States. And then oil prices rose in the 1970s. OPEC had two price spikes in the billions of dollars of wealth fled from the United States, fled from Europe, fled from Japan, fled from Canada. The petro-states, authoritarian states in the Middle East became rich. The whole post-World War II system, which had been built by British and American statesmen to avoid a repeat of the evils that followed World War I, depression, Nazism, fascism, Stalinism, war, no international trade, it all fell apart. This system, called the Bretton Woods system, was tattered. The ability to run an economy for growth plus equity, called Keynesianism, allowing for the growth of a middle class, you couldn't do it anymore. New international forces ruled the roost. Trillions of petrodollars from the OPEC countries flowed into banks. They demanded no regulation if you wanted their money. A new system called neoliberalism ruled the world. And then in China, Mao Zedong died, and a new government took power which was committed to making use of these advantages, to ally with, if you will, the petro-states, to be on the side of the authoritarian regimes. And on top of all, the information technology, which put everything else on steroids and made everything move at a speed you'd never seen before. The recent traumas, with further all the trends which are destroying the middle class, may in the future also be an opportunity. What stands before us is, can we re-regulate finance in the entire globe? If we don't, we're not going to get back to growth with equity. If we don't, we're going to get back to all the problems that were after World War I. Human beings are slow learners. I wouldn't bet on the species to get it right this time. The most likely thing is, where the world is going and why, is we can't handle the crises that occurred in the 1970s, and we're all going to hell in a handbasket.